top 5 Super Bowl X Factor players. These are guys, some of these names you're going to obviously recognize all the names, but look, it's not Mahomes and Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, the guys you know. There's one big name here, but I think he's still busting on the scene a little bit. But number 5, Kyle Juszczyk. He is used in a variety of different ways in the offense as the fullback. He's one of the few teams that really highlights it. Look, he made a huge catch for a first down in the game against the Lions. He makes plays all the time. He's kind of the last resort safety valve in a lot of routes and makes things happen. I just have a feeling, and look, the last time the 49ers won the Super Bowl, they had a fullback that wore number 44.
See, that's forever
Tom
ago.
Rathman.
Yeah.
And I think that if they do win, Kyle Juszczyk is going to make a play here or there that's key in the game. And in the Super Bowl, it's the little things that matter. And Kyle Juszczyk is the king of the little things for the 49ers offense.
And his wife is the king of the jackets.
Yes.
She's making these jackets for Taylor Swift and Kelsey, among others, and is incredibly popular and just got an NFL license where they don't give those away.
No, they don't. So, yes, Kyle Juszczyk, somebody you need to look out for. Number 4, Kansas City linebacker Willie Gay. Now, in the Baltimore game, his job was to spy on Lamar Jackson. He did a really good job on that. Now, he did suffer an injury and had to leave the game, but he's back. He did a job, kind of keeping Josh Allen in it, but he's fought through some injuries. He's going to be back. Now, Brock Purdy, obviously not as big a running threat as Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson as far as, both those guys can go 70 yards if you let them. But Brock showed last week or 2 weeks ago that he can be a guy who can run 20 yards for sure. And 20 yards is too much to give up at any time on defense. So he can go 20 yards. Willie Gay is going to be tasked with spying on Brock Purdy and making sure that he doesn't have those moments. Also, protecting the middle of the field against George Kittle and guys like, not to mention Deebo Samuel and all the weapons they'll have, and stopping Christian McCaffrey in the run game. But Willie Gay, someone I think, and look, if there was a dark horse candidate for MVP that would come out of nowhere, I'm going to say it's Willie Gay because he's the guy on that defense who's going to make a play, and you're like, who's Willie Gay? The
only way
Dexter Jackson type guy.
That's the only way a defensive player is going to end up winning the MVP is if they run something back for a touchdown, which Dexter Jackson did, Larry Brown did, among others. The Cowboys had that famous Super Bowl when they lost, and yet, what was it, Chuck Howley and whoever else won like co-MVPs. You have to do that, though. You have to do something that is either the play of the game that ends the game, or you have to score somehow on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 3, Rashee Rice has become the number 1 wide receiver for the Chiefs, and if they're going to have success in this game, it's going to be because Rashee Rice makes plays, gets first downs, and possibly scores a touchdown. That is what is going to happen for the Chiefs to win this game. He's going to have to be a factor, and because you can't rely on any of the other wide receivers to be that factor. They've been unreliable all year. Now they've played a little bit better in the postseason, but the Chiefs have one totally reliable wide receiver, and it is Rashee Rice. And I would say the second most reliable wide receiver is Justin Watson, and he's like the 5th guy. And the rest in between have been.
But they're now catching. It's not even that they have to make crazy, spectacular plays, although the Scantling play that ended the game against the Bills on his back. They're catching the football. They weren't even doing that.
No, but he's the one.
But he's had a
I'll tell you, Rashee Rice, year 2, buy big on year 2 of Rashee Rice. One more year with Patrick Mahomes in that system, he's going to have a huge, huge year. Plus, you would assume they're going to bring somebody else in there to kind of complement him a little bit. Number 2, Brandon Aiyuk. Look, had a fantastic year, an all-pro type year. He is the kind of unsung hero to me on the 49ers of being a star that fades into the background because most of the talk is going to be about McCaffrey or Deebo or George Kittle or the quarterback and Brock Purdy, and it's not about Brandon Aiyuk, whose game is elevated each and every year of his career, and he had a huge year. He's a great blocker.
He's physical,
He's very physical, and he just doesn't mess around. And Kyle Shanahan, if you remember a couple years ago, kind of had to sit him down and get him out of his feelings, and that worked so well because he is just on the up. And you got one of the best 1-2 punches at wide receiver in the NFL in Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk.
And then they have those guys, and I know you're talking about the MVP, with Jennings among a couple of others that will make a play when you not least expect it, but they're there to make a play.
But yeah, look, if you've taken all the other guys out of the play, Jawan Jennings is going to be there and get a first down. That's just kind of how their offense works. And number 1, defensive end George Karlaftis of the Chiefs. Look, he's first-round draft pick. He certainly lived up to that. He's had a really good year the last 2 years, but he now has it a little harder. He and Chris Jones have it a little harder in that Charles Menahu is not going to play in this game. Derek Nandi is not going to play in this game. That is 2 starters on the defensive line that are out. So the onus on Chris Jones, who might be the best defensive lineman in all of football right now. But George Karlaftis is the one who's going to get after and mostly make those plays, those game-changing sacks and all that, because of the effort they're going to focus on trying to take Chris Jones out of the game, because they need Chris Jones out of the game for Christian McCaffrey to be effective. But George Karlaftis should be is a huge X factor. He gets a couple sacks for the Chiefs. That can be a huge momentum swinger.
And what gets overlooked because of 15, Mahomes and Kelsey, is that the reason the Chiefs are where they are right now doesn't mean that they haven't been a major part of it, because when you have Mahomes, you're going to win, is the defense has been really solid throughout the year and has carried this team a lot more than people realize. And so we'll see what happens with them